Hi, I'm Robin Gara, and I'm a visual artist here in San Antonio, and this is Una Plática. I grew up in a very creative family. Both my parents were artists. Although my dad was a history professor, he also was a visual artist. He studied art. My mom was a writer. There was always a lot of music and art in our house, and my parents took me to museums and plays, and all of that helped to inspire me to create. And I used to write children's stories and illustrate them when I was a little kid. And then later I was inspired by different artists, a lot of women, Georgia O'Keeffe, and a lot of Joan Mitchell, so many women that my parents introduced me to through books and information. And so, yeah. I feel like I've been an artist forever. I've always wanted to be an artist. I remember, doing it as a child, thinking even in high school I wanted to be an artist. I remember a teacher, my advisor also in college said, well, if you want to be an artist, you need to study business as well. And I thought that was crazy at the time, but now I get it. But I did start. After I retired from teaching, I started painting on a daily basis, and that's really when I got very into it. So my culture, I'm Irish and English mix as far as that goes, but I think of my culture as the place that I grew up in, which was rural Ohio, so that had an impact on me. But even more, my family was, as I had said, very arts-oriented, but my parents were peace activists, and so we had a lot of interesting people coming and going through the house, and I learned a lot about the world through their activism as well. I absolutely think it's important. Organizations like Centro Cultural Aztlán provide a way for the community to connect with artists. It gives artists an opportunity to exhibit their work, and it just brings everybody together to celebrate culture. So it's vital to, I think, the community. That's hard because I really like all of the exhibits and programs that they have. I do love the Dia de los Muertos altar exhibit. I knew nothing about the celebration of Dia de los Muertos coming from Ohio, but once I learned about it, I just think it's such a great celebration of ancestors and of the idea that life is a cycle, and the altars are beautiful, they're art. I also have a soft spot in my heart for the children's exhibit Superheroes. The first time I'd heard of Centro Cultural Aztlán, I was teaching art on the west side of San Antonio, and the location for the organization was on Las Palmas. And I met Ramon Vasquez y Sanchez, and he was very encouraging to me, and we encouraged my students to participate in that exhibit. And it was a real positive experience for them to have their work up in a space outside of the school. Well, the first thing I think about with impact was my teaching. I taught 30 years, and some of those, about half of those years were teaching art. And I always hoped that I could encourage my students to learn about the arts, learn about culture. Even if they weren't going to become artists, that didn't matter, just to participate in it and know it's there for everybody. As far as my own paintings, I would hope that people would connect with my paintings. I paint abstract. They used to be abstract landscapes, and they just kept getting more abstract. But I would hope that people would be able to connect with them with their own experiences. Well, first of all, I would say you need to love it, because it's not easy to do that, to have it as a career, just simply because it's a lot of work. But if you love it, follow your dreams. Don't stop. Don't listen to your own voice, and have a thick skin. Develop a thick skin so that you can take criticism and realize that if you don't get into an exhibit or a residency or whatever it is you're applying for, it will happen. It's just, there's things, it doesn't always work out, but it will eventually work out. And I'd say go for it. This is a piece that I did a series of 4. And the reason I call it a series is because of the process I used, not how they ended up, because they all were a little different. But I started with gessoed paper, so they were on paper. I glued down a lot of pieces of painted tracing paper, and then I covered that with black paint and scratched into it. And then I added more collaged paper, some magazine pictures, and then I listened to what they wanted to become at that point. This first one started kind of getting dark, and the word no developed onto the paper, and I started thinking about women and how when women say no, they mean no, and how, and so the title became No Means No for that one. The second piece of the series is a little more lighthearted. By the end, it had a symbol, it had a thing in it that looked like a gun, but it looked like a pretty gun. I hate guns, actually, but this gun kind of looked like a cartoon gun. And so it made me think of a book I read a long time ago called Even Cowgirls Get the Blues. And I was thinking about this cowgirl with this pink gun, and just how they were kind of wild and free. And so it's just kind of about freedom and the Wild West and women being free.